What's up, guys? It's Jake here from Chief Live Gaming. Today, a video covering these absolutely awesome models in front of you guys on your screen. I can't even contain my excitement. I don't know if you guys can tell in my voice, but man, these models are fantastic. We've got some Contemporary Dreadnoughts on the left. These are the Custodes or Custodes Dreadnoughts, the newer-ish resin kits. In the middle and right side, dwarfing the absolute monsters, two Cerastus Knights and a plastic Imperial Knight from the Imperial Knights Renegade box set. I recently have been getting an absolute ton of commissions for paint work, so I haven't had as much time to actually build my kits. I'm not the greatest assembler in the world. I don't have enough patience. I can paint all day, but when it comes to building, I just don't have the patience needed to do some of these models justice. So what I've been doing is sort of gathering up some of the bigger kits that I thought I wanted more time put into, and I sent them over to my friend Richard. He does commission builds as well as other things. You should consider checking his channel. I'm going to link it down in the comments, the description rather, below. He runs a channel called The Nerd Life. You may remember it as Tattoo for You. And he does some absolutely top-tier builds, guys. I mean, like, anywhere you're thinking to yourself when you're building your models, you're like, man, it'd be nice to have, like, a pin here or a brass rod or a magnet. It'd be cool if I could swap this out. But, you know, I'm too lazy to do that, right? This is going to take way too much time. At least that's what I think. Richard does all of that stuff. I mean, he went crazy on these kits. I didn't even, like, expect. I mean, I didn't expect this, guys. These are absolutely amazing, and I want to show them off to you today and show my brother some love. Hopefully, if you guys need commission builds done, you'll consider checking out Richard and sending him some of your kits. So we have a lot to go over. These kits are all able to break down for transport purposes. He put pins, like I mentioned, and brass rods in a lot of the joints. They are super stable, and the poses obviously are fantastic. I asked him for some dynamic poses on the two Mechanicum or Cerastus Knights, as well as the smaller Custodes Dreads, and then more of a basic pose with the Imperial Knight. And then I asked him to magnetize all of the Imperial Knight weapon options. And I was thinking to myself, okay, you know, he'll be able to swap out some things. But guys, he magnetized everything. Like, everything in the kit is swappable. It's impressive. So I want to show this to you guys real quick. Let me take you off the tripod. Okay, here we go, guys. Off the tripod. So I quickly just kind of popped these guys off their bases, so you could see the base work that Richard did here. I sent him some of my extra bits and just kind of told him, hey, go nuts, throw bits on the bases, you know, themes, whatever you want to do. And he went ahead and did that. We've got a really nice base theme going on here. We've got a demon prince that's been slain. You can see his head over here, his chest plate, a bit of his sword, it looks like here. And as we move across, you can see his axe maybe ended up over here. We've got a bloodletter head, some miscellaneous debris scattered across this base. Really nice. I love this, how this axe is kind of buried here, stuck in the ground. That's really nice. Just those subtle little things that I like a lot about Richard's builds here. So each model has a pin that slides into a hole into the base and allows you to pose them dynamically, kind of like that. Obviously, as I glue it on there, it's going to sturdy them up really nicely. You can see that some of the bits have been left unassembled. Richard is a painter himself, so he's very astute, I've noticed, at noticing kind of what's going to be a pain in the butt to paint on a model, and he just left those unglued, cleaned them up, and sent them back to me so I could paint them off the model and then glue them on. So we've got some extra bits over here for this guy that will be assembled, different weapon options, etc. Same thing over here. We've got a pin going through his foot down through this armor for him to stand on the base. The bits, you can see a pin even in his wrist here to mount up his shield, and then the sword will be mounted on that side. Very, very cool. So those are the two little Custodes Contemptors. Let's move on to sort of the big stuff here. This is a Cerastus Knight, Archeron. I can never remember his actual name. He may look a little bit funky right now because I've kind of got things balancing on him, and I'll show you why. So I mentioned that he left things able to be disassembled. These shoulder pads are not yet glued, as well as the top piece here. So just for painting purposes, you can see like all the shin plates and stuff like that have also been left off. So he looks a little bit funky right now, and not quite as bulky as he would normally be. The head even comes off. I don't really want to pull that off one-handed, but not sure if I'm going to glue that or not, but he left it off for me to paint and for me to be able to pose, you know, the neck right where I want it. So really cool. I want to show you guys inside this cockpit here. Now, it's not very pretty, but it doesn't need to be because it's going to be covered up. I mentioned brass rods. If you see down in there, he's got epoxy and a brass rod coming through the front here to kind of brace, I'm guessing, the head and neck through there. If we take a look over here, all of these arms, see if I can do this one-handed. This is a little bit more difficult than I thought. Have a pin and a magnet, which sync up to the socket over on this side. See if I can give you a view. There we go. A magnet and a hole for the pin. And you can see there's green stuff and epoxy holding the magnets in. A big problem that you can have with this kind of setup, especially with these larger magnets, is the magnets fly out of there when you're interchanging these pieces for months or whatever. But with the way he's done it here, they're not going anywhere. They're stuck. So that's really cool. I like this chain sword, chain fist thing. What a beast. Over here again, this arm. Let's spin him around here. This sort of ammo belt. See if I can get in here. Let's switch to the right hand here. Has a pin on each side here to kind of be allowing me to bend it and heat it into if I want a different position. Again, this arm here. Let's pull. Come on. Don't watch me break everything. There we are. Just a magnet here to allow for, again, that posability. And then a huge brass rod up through the bottom into the main sort of belly and torso of this knight. So you can see here, this rod, I mean, what a monster support system. This makes this model very steady, allows you to kind of pose it. I'm not sure, like I feel like I want to keep it separate for transport, but if I can find a nice way to transport the model in one sort of piece, or maybe the whole torso and body together with the arms off of it, I might glue this. I'm not sure, but because he's got the rod here, you can, as you can see, I've been twisting this. Really nice to be able to pose it. If you do want to glue it, you know, you can kind of pose him however you want him, tack some glue on to keep him still, but you've got that additional support of the rod to really strengthen that up. So that's the Archeron, or Archeron. Again, some Tyranid bits on the base here. Pretty cool stuff. It's like a little green stuff work. Kind of throw some tentacles in there. Very cool. Now, moving over. It's hard to say which one of these I'm most excited about. Each time I look at the next one, I'm just as excited as the previous one. Let's start from the ground up on this guy. This is the Lancer. You can see the Carnifex has been absolutely demolished here. Got scything talons. His head is broke and kind of smashed. Really cool. Little mound here to give him that extra sort of dynamic in his pose. If we look at the back, you can see just kind of how far he's leaning back. Now the challenge when you're doing these dynamic poses that I was a little concerned about but Richard obviously knows what he's doing, is when you lean the legs back, it's hard to get the torso to be straight so the model doesn't look funny, and also get the weapons and stuff posed without doing too much to modify these knee joints, shins, you know, things like that. It's a little restrictive with this kit, but did really nice job here bringing this pose back. I like this because the shield's up, and he's kind of like maybe he swatted away something. That's what I imagined. Something was coming in, you know, from this direction, and he just kind of went bing with his shield, swatted it away, and he's getting ready to stab with his shock lance here. I see a lot of these where they're kind of crouching behind the shield, which is really cool, but it's nice to have something different. I really do enjoy standing out a little bit more from sort of the pack with a model like this. Really cool. Again, some of the bits come off. There we go, there's one. The shield here is just press fit, so with those two kind of receiving joints here. Again, shoulder pads, helmet, I'm not going to take off, I don't want to break it. And then this top piece here, we've got another, let's go to the top down view here. You can see again, these are the rods I was talking about. He went crazy on these rods here. See if I can, there we are. Oh no, don't fall. Big old brass rod here, and both sides to hold these arms on and allow you for different, you know, positioning and posing. Everything breaks down, nice and clean, nice and easy, nice and sturdy. Now this is the Imperial Knights from the Renegades box set. Now this is plastic. I told Richard to magnetize the crap out of this guy. I said, you know, the other two kind of just pins and let him remove the arms, and that's fine. But this guy, I'd like to have different weapon options because I don't really know what I'm going to end up using him for. Might be Grey Knights, might be Death Guard. It might be something else, who knows. So again, we have the standard magnet on the torso here to allow him to spin around. He kind of rests a little funky right now. Without the weight of the arms on, he kind of sits a little slouchy, but that's okay. The top, again, removable reinforcement, green stuff holding the magnet in. We've got a small magnet up here. Let's leave this on and show you what's going on. So we've got the Twin Icarus, magnetizes right on there. The Iron Storm missile pod, same sort of thing. I don't know if this is actually the Iron Storm or it's the other one. Clips right on there. Now this is what's really cool. Take a look at this. You can't even really tell that this comes off. I didn't actually know it did until I saw the other piece in his bag. But this pops off. There's a magnet. Nice little elegant solution there. That works pretty good. And then this guy will pop in. Let's see if I can finagle him. There we go. And it sits really flush, really nice. Can't even really tell if it's removable once you push it in there. So the tops are magnetized. Very cool. We've got all the arms here. This is, I'll show you the Gatling, the Avenger Gatling. Magnet on the receiving end. Sits up in there. Excellent, right? This arm also goes on there. So this is the battle cannon and melta cannon arm. Now, this is cool because the battle cannon obviously has a different front. So let's smack that on there. I don't know. Oh, it's upside down. I'm doing an awesome job of keeping this out of frame. I think that's the right way. What do you guys think? Looks pretty cool. So you can swap out the front part for the melta or the battle cannon. But he also swapped, because they have two different sort of side things that go here. You know, you've got your melta canister, you've got this like magazine thing. And they both clip onto the side depending on what weapon you're using. So it's fully interchangeable, not just the front, which is kind of what I expected. I didn't think he'd actually magnetize these as well to be something that could swap. Really pleased with that, because that kind of is true WYSIWYG in a way for these models. And then over here, we've got the Reaper Chainsword and Thunderstrike Gauntlet. These kits, or these pieces, just go on the one side, or this at least does. This is swappable. But obviously, since he's left-handed with this Slender Strike, it can't go on the right side, so very cool. This is, let's see if I can get in here. The lighting might be a little weird. Let's maybe turn him. There we are. So this is what's really neat. We've got these sort of guns on his front here. Now, he has options. Depending on what weapons you have on this knight, he's going to be able to be equipped with sort of heavy stubbers, melta, which you can see on him right now. One or both or none. I think you have to have at least one stubber. I'm not quite sure. But depending on what I'm kitting him out with, I might want to put this iconography here, this shield. And so the way he did that, and this is pretty ingenious, this clips off here. So we've got a heavy stubber that can clip in here as well. But for these shields, this is going to be nearly impossible to do one-handed, I think. But he did this little like socket system here. There we are. So we've got the two different shields that have this little kind of plastic hard rod here, and then a receiving end over here. So as you can see, it kind of, whoops, let's do it. There it goes. Slides in together, and then makes, you know, some clamping action to hold that up onto there. And that's just something he came up with. You know, GW doesn't have anything to have that interchangeable. And then we have, let's reach over here, we have the two different shields for the heraldry on our knights that are interchangeable as well. So that's the Imperial Knight, fully magnetized to the extreme. He took that very literally, and I'm super pleased because I didn't expect it to be as interchangeable as it is. Again, this one's for my personal collection. I may end up keeping one of these because they're just amazing. I can't see them go. I don't know what to do, guys. But fantastic. I'm going to throw you on the tripod so I'm not weaving all over as I close the video out. You can see just the massive amount of bits and pieces on the table here as I broke these kits down. They were all shipped extremely well packaged, no damage at all on delivery, and these came 4 or 5 states from Texas to Wisconsin, and no damage at all. I'm pretty surprised. I expected some things to break, especially with resin, but everything was in good condition, so he did a really good job packaging and getting everything back to me. So again, guys, down in the description below, the Nerd Life, his name is Richard. Send him a message if you need kits built. I can recommend him with confidence that he will get the job done for you exactly as you want it. He sends tons of updates as well, which is something that's really cool. He was sending me videos almost every other day, kind of updating me on these projects, pictures, you know, asking me what I wanted in certain areas, and just constant sort of communication. So really, really pleased. Again, thank you, Richard, very much. I'm super excited to paint these up and to be able to send you some more stuff hopefully soon in the future. So if you guys want to see how I paint these or what I decide to do with them, what army they're going to end up in, consider following my Instagram, subscribing to YouTube here. I do regular updates almost daily on Instagram. It's just kind of what I'm working on the table, so that might be a better way to keep more in touch with what's going on here. I want to say a big thank you one more time, Richard. You blew it away, man. I hope I can send some more clients over your way, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.